Hey, what is happening everyone? Welcome back to another video, and today we have the BEBONCOOL Q39 controller from Seitake. So this thing does look pretty cool, it looks very nice, it's nice and compact, it gives you that PSP or PS Vita kind of vibe, but I have looked at some reviews and it seems like this thing has some mixed feelings. While some people enjoy it, others not so much. And for that reason I have two phones right here, the LG V35 which is rocking a Snapdragon 845 and a Xiaomi Mi 5 with a Snapdragon 820. Now why is that important? Well, because this thing can only work on Snapdragon processor phones. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. So inside the box, you'll find a micro USB cable. It's an okay quality one. Then you have the controller itself, a 3-year warranty card that's also in Japanese, which is pretty interesting. And lastly, a pretty nice looking large manual. And the material here kind of feels like newspaper. But yeah, it's in color, it's big, and it tells you everything you need, and it comes also, again, in Japanese. So here's the controller itself, and as you can see, it looks pretty clean. It's pretty clean looking, it's pretty compact, and it slides in and out pretty nicely. And we have a couple LED indicators, including Android, iOS, the HID mode for Android, and the charging indicator. You know what, in fact I might be wrong because the charging indicator is actually right over here, beside the micro USB charging port. Now the analog placement here is kinda cramped for the right side. It is very similar to the Nintendo Switch and some PS Vitas depending on how you grip it. It's a bit cramped, and you kind of feel it right around here. There's too much pressure. And 90% of the controls here are actually tactile, including the X, Y, A, B, the analogs once again, the dedicated Android button, as well as the dedicated iOS button, the view and the edit for the built-in software, which we'll take a look at in just a bit, and the same goes for the shoulder and trigger buttons. They're all nice and tactile. Now as for the D-pad, it is not tactile, and yes, this is all in one piece, so when you actually try to move around, they will all move along with you, and they're not separate buttons, so that's good. It's not the greatest, but it gets the job done. And there's also this pinhole reset button right here. And finally, taking a look at the back, we have a little sticker, which might be useful if you want to try out the Android HID, and it tells you how to actually switch between Android and iOS. For Android, you press the Android, and for iOS, you press the iOS. What do you know? So yeah, let's go ahead and actually try out one of my phones, and I'm going to show you both scenarios. If you're enjoying this thing, and if you're not enjoying this thing, and if you're somewhere in the middle. Well, let's go ahead and find out. Alright, so it seems like I'm actually getting some very different results from the first time pairing this thing. And it seems like it has fixed itself because I was unpairing and repairing between these two devices. The first results that I got were extremely choppy. Both analogs were choppy and they were actually jumping across the screen in little segments, which is totally unplayable. But now it seems like it's fixed again because I was unpairing and repairing, so if that's an issue you have, give that a try. So right now it should be working at 100% capacity, so how is it? It's very hard to control. So say I want to aim at the guy in the middle over there. It's extremely hard. As you can see, things move way too fast, way too quickly. And you can see the dead zone here is not terrible, but what happens is the actuation point is way too fast, and what you end up with is really fast movement without much control. So right now I'm aiming by moving back and forth, which is not a viable option at all. And we're going to switch and play PUBG in just a bit on the other phone, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. But yeah, trying to aim, as you can see, not great. And if you're wondering, yes, you can actually go ahead and adjust the speed for the stick. Go ahead and click on the stick, drop the speed to 1, click OK, and then click save. And how is it now? Well, it's slightly better, but it's still not that great. If I try to aim at this guy, it's extremely hard. Moving on. So here's the app, and it has a built-in function where you can actually go ahead and test out the controls, which is very useful. And the results, well, they speak for themselves. As soon as I touch the left analog, as you can see, it jumps really quickly. It seems like you gotta actually play around with it a couple times before you can get the results that you want. The left analog is manageable, it's not that important, but what's more important is the actual aim. And you can see that we're getting some very similar results. It's just jumping to 100%, and there's nothing between them. You can see the numbers, 0 and 128. And now after trying it a couple times, you will actually end up being able to move. For some reason, I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's a software issue, maybe it's a chip issue inside the controller itself, maybe it's the analog itself. It needs some movement first before you can go ahead and get somewhat accurate results. So here it is again in more detail. First of all, there's some wiggles. The dead zone here is not terrible according to the numbers. We can see it moving here. But again, it moves way too quickly, way too fast, and doesn't feel very natural. You can go ahead and test out the other controls just like so. So with that said, let's go ahead and play some PUBG. So here are the mapped controls, and you can actually go ahead and move them around, and once you actually touch something, it will move it to the center so you can easily find out where it actually is. And I'm going to fix this control right here, make sure it's nice and centered, and you can go ahead and save, close, delete, or you can go ahead and actually obtain the preset sync from their servers. So let's go ahead and see that. And yeah, and as you can see, it is not perfect, but it's close enough. Just move that right there. Hit save, and then OK, and we are good to go. All right, so so far so good. We're actually aiming. And here is the real part. We're going to see how it goes. So if I want to aim at the car over there, it's going to take me a while. As you can see, I cannot center my aim. It's going to be a nightmare no matter how you look at it. The only redeeming factor is that it gets you close enough. Yep, there's a guy, and I'm guarantee you that I cannot get this guy. Yep, oh boy. Oh, that's terrible. Okay. Now, as I was saying, you can actually do something else. Oh, there's someone else. And I have no health. I'm running around. Where is he? Oh, he's over there. Oh, I'm gonna get you. He thinks I have no gun. I'm gonna... Okay. The controller's stuck. I'm just gonna do this. Okay, as I was saying, you can go ahead and actually enable the gyroscope option, and once you go aim down sights using the buttons, it should be fairly easy to move around and aim. Let's go into the jump into settings and enable that option on scope, and I really cannot do it on video since it will move off screen, but you get the idea. You get close enough, you do this, and then aim like a real gun. And I'm trying to aim at that green tree, and as you can see, in a firefight with real people, it's not going to be great unless you do the gyroscope. Yeah, that's how this controller is, and if you're wondering, this thing is $46. Yes, 46 US dollars. And really the last thing to show you here would be the view button, so if I go ahead and click that, it will quickly show you which buttons are mapped to what, which is really useful. So it won't affect your game while you're playing, you can easily see what's going on. Click that again, it will disappear. He's around there. So let's give that, let's see if this gyroscope option works. I gotta reload. So yeah, you could totally play the game like this, but again, to varying degrees. For $46, is this thing worth it? I have to say, unfortunately, not so much. If it had X input, I would probably recommend it, but since it does not have that option, it is really hard to recommend. Maybe that is something they have done intentionally to hide the fact that this is a controller controlling PUBG, because as you guys know, PUBG is really hard on any controllers or assistants, and if they catch you, they will instantly ban you for 10 years, and that is the end of that. You'll never get your account back. And that's a sad story. So who knows? I'll actually ask and I'll try to confirm with them and I'll post it on the screen here. If not, I'll post it in the comments or the description to confirm whatever I'm saying. And so the conclusion. This is a $46 US controller that claims that you won't get banned from PUBG. At least that's what it says on their promotional video. But for all we know, PUBG might actually know we're playing with a controller and instead putting us with bot matches or matches where other people are using controllers as well. It does feel good in the hand, but the analog here does feel a bit cramped, but really that's not the issue here. The issue here is that the analogs are a bit iffy. In fact, very iffy, and I probably don't recommend aiming with them at all. Instead, if you have a game like PUBG Mobile that supports the gyroscope option, I would recommend turning it on, and it'll give you much better aim than any other stick out there. Even if you had an Xbox controller, it would give you much better aim, since it will allow you to do some micro adjustments on the fly without having to do much, and I think it will give you much better pinpoint accuracy whenever you're trying to aim at something. And really, that is the only way I see anyone playing with this controller if you're getting it for PUBG Mobile. If the fact is true that it doesn't get you banned, then I think this thing might be worth looking at. Other than that, it will really be up to you guys if it's worth your money. Again, $46 for something that supposedly doesn't get you banned. I'll be testing it on a test account and seeing if this thing will get me banned. If not, I mean, I'll update you guys in the comment section below and see if there's anything that has changed. And with that said, guys, that is all for this video. So let me know what you think about this thing. Is it worth it? Is it worth even looking at? I mean, honestly, so far, from my experience, I would like to see better analog sticks. And that's pretty much it. If they can fix the analog sticks, this would be a pretty good controller. And yes, I know it doesn't have any X input, but maybe they have removed that intentionally to hide the fact that this is a controller controlling the touchscreen. But again, who knows? Maybe they can add it in a future revision. So yeah, thank you all for watching. If you have any questions, do let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone.